Hi, welcome to Mudsicle. This is the second in our series of episodes where we're looking at clothing for winter obstacle races. And today our main focus is going to be on the wonder fabric that is Merino wool. I published an article on the site a few days ago which you might want to check out about the many benefits of wearing Merino wool. But to cut a long story short, it's pretty amazing stuff in that it regulates your body temperature in all kinds of conditions. So when it's warm, it keeps you cool. When it's cold outside, it keeps you warm. And most importantly, for us as obstacle racers, when it gets wet, it reacts really well. So it dries out really quickly. Even when it is filled with water, it still insulates you very well and feels warm. So today I'm going to be checking out a few things from Smartwool's range. I'm going to put all of the details about the stuff I'm wearing on below this video. So if you're interested in any of that gear, then go check it out. But basically I'm going to be wearing a combination of a short sleeve base layer, just here. I'll be wearing a long sleeve zip neck tee from their PHD range. I'm going to be wearing some running tights from Smartwool. So this and the long sleeve tee, they're not 100% merino wool. They also incorporate nylon and elastane and things like that to make sure they're a really comfortable thing to work out in. And I'm also going to be wearing a pair of Smartwool socks, which I'm a massive fan of, and I think you should, at the very least, you should get yourself a pair of these. Today I'm wearing the ones with compression calves, but to be honest, I think probably the best bet is to get a shorter pair of socks and get separate compression for your calves. That way, when the socks do wear out, you're not going to waste away good compression gear with it. Okay, although there are many upsides of wearing merino wool, there's some pretty obvious downsides, and the main one really is the cost of it. It is going to cost quite a lot to get completely kitted out in merino wool. So if you do make that step and you do purchase some of these items, you're obviously going to want to look after them. So when you go to an obstacle race, I think it's a really good idea for you to protect the vulnerable areas of your gear. I find at the very least you're going to want to cover up your knees. They're one of the first things to go. I can highly recommend getting some neoprene knee supports. Sometimes when I put these on, I won't always have them over my knees. I'll just have them around my shin area. When it comes to an area where I know I'm going to be crawling, I can just pull them up over my knees. So it's worth investing in a few of these. You can get them online probably for about between £5 and £7 each. A lot of the time though, they're sold individually, so make sure you buy 2 of each one for each knee. As you can see, this one's pretty battered, which goes to show that they do take a bit of abuse, and I'd rather it be happening to these than I would do a really nice pair of running tights. You can also do the same for the elbow if you want. You can get similar things for your elbows. And also, I think the other things that really get snagged are, potentially your back and your bum. As much as you're going to be trying to crawl underneath barbed wire and stay as low as you can, sometimes, you might get lazy, or it might be lower than you expect and you'll snag something. That's one of the reasons why I'll always be wearing a nice Mudsicle vest over the top, and I'll also be wearing just a pair of shorts over the top of my tights. Not everyone likes to do that, it's just a personal preference for me. And another great thing about wearing these is that they've got a mesh liner, so if I don't want to be wearing my gloves, my hands are getting warm, I kind of just shove them down the liner and they're out of the way. Also, energy gels. If you're taking energy gels around and you don't want to be litting them around the countryside, you can just shove your used packets down there. It's just handy. So, to test all this gear out today, I'm actually lucky enough to be invited along to RockSolid Race's Exeter venue. So I'm going to be going for a run with Ash, the race director, to hopefully test this out and get a bit wet and see how this stuff reacts to wet and wind. It's particularly windy out there today, and one of my biggest worries with just wearing merino wool is how it reacts to the wind, whether it does stop that wind. So I'll report back afterwards, let you know our findings, and yeah, exciting times. Catch you in a bit. Okay, I just got back from my run with Ash at RockSolid race down at their Exeter venue. We were also joined by Peter from Southwest Military Fitness, who do RockSolid races boot camps that are happening over the next couple of months, so keep an eye out for them. But the venue today was perfect for what we're doing, as well as having lots of mud and hills. There was plenty of water for me to submerge in and really test this merino wool gear out. So how did it do? It pretty much handled things how I expected it to. The real pros of it, before it got wet, it really regulated my temperature. I didn't overheat. To be honest, I didn't stay dry too long. There was rain in the air as well as me submerging myself in water. So when it did get wet, it also regulated my temperature very well. Fair enough, when I went into the lakes, and into the deeper lakes particularly, there was a real chill that came through me, as you'd expect on something that's as porous as wool. The cold water goes straight through and it hits you. But within a few seconds of being out of the river or the lakes, a real warmth started to build again. So that characteristics that we talked about, where it's able to insulate even when it is completely sodden, you can really feel that happening. So I think it's a perfect bit of gear for winter obstacle races, and you can probably get away with just wearing that, maybe a t-shirt on top, for the majority of races. There obviously will be a few where they are particularly long, particularly cold, particularly icy, particularly wet, where you might need something else on top of it. And I think the main factor that's going to make this need something else is the wind. Once you're soaking wet and there's an icy wind cutting across you, I think wool is going to naturally let a bit of that wind through, and it will kind of start to chill a little bit. So that's where you might want to have a layer over the top, whether that be a neoprene layer, which we're going to be looking at when it gets super cold. At the moment it's kind of unseasonably warm, but when it does get super cold we'll be doing some stuff with neoprene over the top of merino wool. But all of the indications from the likes of Smartwool's product development guy that we spoke to last week is that neoprene on the top of merino wool is a really great combination, and it's something that we're pretty sure is going to get us through the toughest events of the winter. And so I think wind is the weakness, and if there were any other downside in merino wool, I would say it would probably be that it, because it does absorb water, it will pick up a tiny bit of weight. So kind of as I got out of the lakes, you could feel a little bit of weight. It doesn't really bother me too much, but it's more that you can just kind of feel it hanging off you a little bit. But like I said, it's no big deal. It certainly doesn't feel like it's holding you back. But I think the pros of wearing merino wool massively outweigh the cons. It really is a magical material that will be keeping you nice and warm. So stay tuned for the next couple of weeks. We're going to be testing a couple more bits and bobs out. As I mentioned, the neoprene, we will be putting the neoprene on top of the merino wool for those who are doing the real harshest races, and we'll let you know how that goes. So stay tuned.